Welcome, everyone. As mentioned earlier in the chat pod, you will be able to find the webinar materials, including a PDF of today's slides, on the event page under Event Materials. It's the top of the hour, and I hope you're excited to jump in. My name is Kim Smith, and I am a program coordinator for OneOp. I will be moderating, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to today's session, Launching Leaders, Preparing Military Connected Teams for Adulthood. It is the final webinar in our Military Family Readiness Academy series. Thank you to all who have joined us. Before we begin, I'd like to give you a brief tour of our webinar platform so you can find your way around. Hopefully, you are currently able to view the slides we're sharing. If you are unable to see them or have any other difficulties, please email us at contact@oneop.org for tech support. Throughout today's webinar, we will be inviting you to join us in the chat. To embed the chat pod so you don't miss any links or conversation, simply place your cursor over the shared slides. You will then see a toolbar pop up across the bottom of your screen. From there, just click the chat bubble icon. When typing questions or comments, please be sure to select everyone from the response options drop-down menu so everyone is able to view them in the chat pod. Please feel free to type your questions throughout today's presentation in the chat pod. We will also have a few minutes at the end of the presentation to answer questions as well. Please note that the slides and resources are available for download on the event page for today's session. We will be covering continuing education information at the end of the webinar, so please stay tuned toward the end if you're interested in continuing education credits or a certificate of attendance. If you need to step away at any time, the webinar recording will be available on the event page within 48 hours. Finally, closed captioning is available for this webinar. The subtitles can be turned on using the Zoom toolbar. This webinar will include an option to participate with a Mentimeter link. Participants can join by URL or QR code. No login is required and your responses are anonymous. To get prepared, have your mobile device nearby or open the Menti link in a new web tab. You will see the link to the Menti app being posted in the chat pod. More instruction will be provided during the presentation. Menti is such a fun interactive tool and we welcome you to use it. If for any reason Mentimeter cannot be accessed or integration goes down during the presentation, you will still be able to participate by typing your answers to the Mentimeter questions in the chat pod. Thank you for joining us as we continue our partnership with the Defense Department and the U.S. Department of Agriculture to expand the readiness, knowledge, and networks of the professionals supporting our military service members and their families. The views expressed in this presentation do not necessarily reflect the official policy of the Defense Department, USDA, U.S. government, or OneOp. The mention of any entity or product is for informational purposes only. So, what topics are being covered in this session? Today, our learning objectives are to identify key career and financial protective factors that support resilience and positive transitions for military-connected teens, learn practical strategies to help teens develop life skills for a confident transition to adulthood, and to explore youth development and community programs that strengthen our support networks and promote military-connected teen well-being. It's an honor to bring you our two guest speakers today. First, we have Dr. Jenny Ray. Dr. Ray is an assistant professor for the Human Services Program within the College of Applied Science and Technology at the University of Arizona. Driven by a passion to understand the challenges faced by today's military families, Jenny's work actively connects research with practical outreach. She is dedicated to supporting military families and those who work tirelessly on their behalf, focusing her research on key areas of their lives, such as resilience and family well-being, opportunities in employment and education, and the vital connection between mental health and familiar relationships. And we also have Ms. Karen Baker. Ms. Baker serves as the 4-H Youth Development Agent and Unit Coordinator for the Virginia Cooperative Extension Office in Hampton, Virginia. She holds a master's degree in career and technical education from Virginia Tech University and a bachelor's degree in business administration from Virginia State University. Karen is dedicated to providing staff development and training opportunities for adults working with youth. aiming to foster positive and enriching learning experiences for young people. Karen assists youth, as well as the adults working with them, in acquiring the knowledge, life skills, and values that will enable them to become self directing, contributing, and productive members of society. We're thrilled to have them both join us today as they explore strategies, tools, and resources designed to strengthen resilience and self advocacy among military connected teens, emphasizing the importance of positive relationships between youth and adults, and to discuss effective ways to support military connected teens as they navigate the transition into adulthood. Thank you both so much for joining us. Dr. Ray, I will now turn it over to you to begin our presentation.
Thank you so much. All right. I appreciate the lovely introduction, Kim, and I am honored to be here today to present alongside Karen Baker. So we are continuing that conversation, focusing on military-connected teens, specifically in the age group of 12 to 18-year-olds. This slide provides a brief overview as the last three webinars had presented, but just to review, there are approximately 1.6 million military-connected children in the U.S. today. Of those, there's roughly 373,500 teens, and nearly 90% of them attend public schools. They, on average, move 6 to 9 times between their K through 12 education. And this can disrupt academics and friendships. And on the other side, it can build resilience, leadership, and also motivation. So these strengths don't necessarily replace the need for targeted support, and that's why all of you, or where all of you come in as professionals. So as Kim mentioned, today's goal is to share those practical strategies and also resources to help all of you better support the teens that you're working with in helping them prepare for their futures. And as the slide denotes, we are investing in resilient young leaders. So, as most of us are aware, adolescence is a pivotal time. And this is especially true in today's fast changing world that makes that journey to adulthood even more complex. Military connected teens do face those unique challenges that are shaped by the rhythms in military life. And here, our discussion is going to be framed around some key factors, things like frequent moves. As I just mentioned, teens do relocate 2 to 3 times more than their civilian peers. Again, that's disrupting those vital social networks and can also impact their educational continuity. So things like credit transfers and graduation, that can impact their future. The other aspect is family separations. As we know, deployments can bring cycles of separation and also reintegration, and that can sometimes bring about some emotional challenges, increased responsibilities, and then shifting family roles. So these experiences definitely shape the identity and also influence how teens approach their financial independence and also their career goals. So our goal as professionals is to help recognize both their challenges and also their strengths to help them move forward with that confidence. All right, so now that we set the stage, I do want to, I think I skipped a slide, sorry. Oh no, here we are. Okay, now that we set the stage, I want to look at some new data from the Study of Adolescent Resilience Project, or the SOAR study. Special shout out to the SOAR team for allowing me to share this information with the audience today and for your dedication to the work that you're doing. So the SOAR study actually offers a comprehensive view of military teens' well-being, and that's because it provides both the adolescent as well as the parent's point of view. On this slide, you can actually see the responses from the parent survey, where the parents were asked from if the child has any of the following conditions that have been diagnosed from a doctor or a health professional. The top concerns were at ADD, ADHD, approximately 20%, depression, which was roughly 13%, and then anxiety around 24%. These findings actually mirror what we're seeing nationally among civilian adolescents. And this is where anxiety, depression, and also related suicide risks are consistently that top mental health concern. We also can see problematic social media use and digital use stress that are on the rise and amplifying those risks. So even in resilient military families, mental health needs are common, and those patterns do closely track with what we're seeing in the wider US teen population. So we definitely want to keep this in mind as we explore financial and career readiness, because planning for one's future works best when that mental health is supported. So given this widespread challenge that is present, it does beg us to question, despite the adversity that military families do face, how do they keep pressing forward or even thriving in those challenging situations? And this brings us to the DoD's definition of military family resilience. It is the ability of individuals and families to withstand, recover from, and also grow in the face of stressors, and also to maintain those positive outcomes across career, social, financial, health, and community engagement domains. So you can see here that resilience isn't just about bouncing back. It's this adapting and growing stronger. I like to think about it as a flexible tree, as you can see on the slide. It bends in the wind, it absorbs that force, and it stands tall again and again, often with deeper roots. And military families show this same strength every day. So understanding this stress piece in military context, we are looking at this again from the military connected teens point of view. Stress is layered. So we're thinking about the teens' schooling, friendships, identity, and then the military specific challenges that they may or may not face. A 2019 National Academies report actually reminds us that stress can be positive. It can be a rewarding experience that is rising to a challenge. It also can be tolerable. So in difficult situations, with the adequate support, it can be coped with positively. Stress can also be toxic. So we know that with toxic or severe stress, without that adequate support, it is harmful to that one's development. And then we also should consider the socioeconomic and geographic context. So those are those things like the universal and also military specific stressors. Things like deployment status or, PCS moves and transitions of that sort. So our goal here isn't to eliminate the stress entirely. It is to build resilience and then also provide that support to turn that stress into growth. So military connected teens, as we know, often demonstrate remarkable strengths, motivation, maturity, leadership, resilience. And these strengths don't just help them cope with that paired intentional support, they actually become those powerful protective factors that guide and sustain them into that transition into adulthood. So I'd like to take a moment and hear from all of you. If you can, in the chat, please respond to this question. What's a strength or unique quality that you have personally observed in a military connected teen that you know or have worked with? Adaptability, resilience, verbal skills, leadership, flexibility, making friends easily, social skills, emotional intelligence. Yes, these are all really, really great skills and strengths. Thank you so much for adding those. So these lay that foundation, these strengths that you all have been mentioning, lay that foundation for our next step to explore how we can cultivate these specific skills and protective factors to support that long-term well-being. Thanks so much for adding those in the chat. So, oh, this is fun. Okay. um, let's see here. So the strengths, oh no, I'm sorry. Thank you for fixing that. It was zooming in. So the strengths that you've mentioned definitely help us address or, can help us address those challenges with when militaries face those experiences. So when we focus on protective factors, what are protective factors exactly? So protective factors are strengths, resources, and also conditions that reduce the likelihood of negative outcomes and also help those teens buffer against risk. They are essential not only for positive growth, but also for mental health and their self-harm prevention. We can actually think about protective factors in two different categories. The first is fixed factors. Those are things like early life experiences, things we can't change, but they do lay that groundwork for resilience. The next is variable factors. Those are things like skills and supports that we can strengthen. Those are those changeable elements. Things like financial literacy or even coping strategies. So when we are able to identify and also nurture these protective factors, again, we're equipping those military connected teens with the tools that they need to manage that stress, to thrive, and also to grow stronger through that adversity. So to effectively support military connected teens, it is important to bolster those protective factors across three different layers and or levels. The first is at the individual level. And we can do this by helping those teens work on their problem solving abilities, develop skills like healthy coping strategies as well. We're also wanting to foster warm, supportive relationships, open communication, and also clear expectations within those families. And then at the community level, we're hoping for school and community connectedness. We're encouraging supportive school climates, social support, and then access to mental health services and youth organizations. Collectively, these layers do create a multi-level safety net that helps those teens stay grounded through all those different transitions. So to truly understand how protective factors work, it does help us to view them through an ecological lens. And this is where I'm bringing in Bronfenbrenner's ecological theory. And when we look at this, I like to imagine it as these set of nested Russian dolls or even ripples in a pond. Each layer of a teen's environment does influence the other. So at that innermost circle, you can see the individual. That is the characteristics that make the teen who they are. The microsystem is that next closest layer. That is the family, their peers, their school. These direct interactions definitely shape those daily experiences. The next layer is the mesosystem. This is where those microsystems actually connect. So for example, how does family reintegration after deployment affect a teen's behavior at school? We know that at this level, strong communication between these spheres is key. The exosystem is next, and that is those external settings that indirectly impact the teen. And you can see a couple of those examples there. But more specifically for military families, we can think about it, deployment schedules, or even availability of youth programs. These factors can either add stress or even offer that vital support. At the macro system, there's that broader cultural and societal context. Things like military culture, public attitudes, national policies, all influencing how teens experience and also interpret their world. And the final one might seem a little bit out of place, but it actually connects them here. The last layer is the chronosystem. This is the dimension of time. So we can think about it as life transitions, like those repeated deployments or a PCS move during high school. These can have lasting effects depending on their timing and frequency. Research has actually shown us that participation in military-sponsored activities and also parental pay grade are those predictors of teen well-being. So that is why we must be coordinated across all these layers. And that builds that connection and stability and resilience. So building on this ecological model, we can zoom out to the broader system of support that is surrounding our military families. That's the Military Family Readiness System, or the MFR. At its core, the MFR is a comprehensive network of programs and services, and it's designed to support service members and their families across all aspects of daily life. The Department of Defense defines its mission on enhancing family readiness, resilience, and the quality of life. And this is all to ensure that those families are strong, adaptable, and prepared for those unique demands of military life. As we can see here, the MFR program does span across these key domains: career, social, financial, health, and community engagement. So whether it's navigating healthcare, accessing financial guidance, or even building in those connections in a new location, the MFR does equip families with those resources that they need to thrive. All right, so building on what we just covered about MFR programs and their key domains, I'm going to specifically focus on the career and financial areas. So it should come to no surprise that career and financial readiness are deeply interconnected. We know that career goals shape financial plans, and financial realities influence career choices. They're really two sides of the same coin when it comes to building independence and also preparing for adulthood. So let's take a quick look at these protective factors that support both areas. I'm going to actually explore these in more detail within the next slide. So just a quick overview here. You can see the key protective factors for career are things like formal mentorship programs, hands-on skill building. And then for financial readiness, you can see things like financial aid options or even financial literacy curriculum. Together, these protective factors do form a strong foundation for military-connected teens to help them plan for the future and equip them with those tools to thrive as those resilient and also independent young adults. So let's take a closer look at those key protective factors that do support career well-being. This domain does go far beyond simply just landing a job. For military-connected teens, it is about building purpose, stability, and growth, even amidst all of those disruptions of that mobile lifestyle. So to help military teens build that career well-being, we can focus on these 4 foundational pillars. The first one is career exploration. So this is where we're helping teens map their path and also identify those portable skills that help travel with them. The research has also shown that mentoring relationships, like having a supportive adult provide guidance and career advice, can help contain that consistent guidance and also stability through transitions as well. Workforce readiness is also essential, so teaching resume writing, interview skills, job searching, things like that. And also, we cannot forget about transferable skills, things like strengthening their problem solving, communication, and time management. When we blend both the hard and soft skills, we can boost adaptability and increase that value in a rapidly changing job market. That sets those teens up for long-term success. So bringing back in the SOAR study, recent data has actually shown that the youth aspirations show promise, but also some gaps. In fact, 97% of adolescents in active duty military families plan to graduate high school. This is that strong sign of a commitment to education. Beyond graduation, though, many are lacking some additional guidance for those next steps, things like college, trade school, military service, or even entrepreneurship options. And that's where all of you can step in as professionals, educators, mentors, community leaders. We're connecting those teens with resources and also relationships to turn those aspirations into reality. So the SOAR study actually highlights this clear ambition, again, with some lingering uncertainty. So as you can see on the far left-hand side, the ages 13 to 15-year-olds. 76% actually indicated that they expect to go to college. 2.5% said that no, and about 1 in 5 were unsure. Now moving to these next 3 bars of sections, these are adolescents between or 16 years of age and older. So for this first portion right here, roughly 29% said that they would obtain a 2-year degree, 40% said no, and a third were unsure. The next, for the 4-year, 66% indicated that they would obtain a 4-year or bachelor's degree, 9% said no, and 25% said they were unsure. The final one may come to a little bit of a surprise, but maybe not, and I'll explain in a moment. So at the graduate degree, 29% said yes, 25% said no, and 52% said that they were unsure. As I previously mentioned, some of those aspects about career plans for entrepreneurship or even arts show some similar hesitation or, lack of understanding or uncertainty, I should say. So military teens are motivated to finish high school, but they do remain undecided, and that is normal at this age and a reminder of how vital our guidance and our exposure can help them. And that's what I wanted to point out about that graduate degree, because it might just be, at 16, they just might not know at that time in their life. All right. So post-high school choices do go beyond that 4-year degree. Families often are underestimating the true cost of college today. That's where they are pushing to explore some other routes. Other options could be like vocational training, things like trade school, certifications, or even apprenticeships. Um, and interestingly enough, only 11% of military teens currently plan to join the military following high school. Um, so our role here is to help teens, weigh those aspirations against their financial realities across all of these pathways. All right, so now that we looked at how career readiness does support overall well-being, let's shift to that other side of the equation, the financial literacy. Strong money skills do more than prepare teens for adulthood, and that's a cornerstone for financial resilience for military youth. Research does show us that developing those money skills does reduce stress and also builds that stability, which are especially valuable for teens who experience those frequent moves or deployment. Some core skills that we are aware of for financial literacy are things like budgeting, saving, um, debt management, using credit wisely. And access to financial education does vary, however. Only 10 states currently require a standalone personal finance course. And if you'd like, you can actually check out the Next Gen resource to determine whether or not the high school in your area offers that or even requires a financial literacy course. But this is also why some resources like the Military Spouse Money Mission, Raising Financially Fit Kids Guide can be also a helpful resource. The SOAR data actually revealed that 70% of military teens don't hold jobs, but for those that do, they typically work about 30 hours or less than 30 hours a week. Even these part-time employments can offer that valuable lessons in budgeting and also responsibility. This aspect of building financial literacy early gives those teens confidence and resilience and equips them to handle PCS moves, deployments, and that transition to become an independent adult. So with all this talk about financial literacy, I'd love to hear from you and hear your perspective in the chat. What is one aspect or two that you believe offers the greatest benefit to military youth? It might be things like mastering core concepts, budgeting, saving, creating a budget, mentoring, I think. Yes, preparing them for life after high school, being able to learn to budget, a Dave Ramsey course, volunteering jobs. These are all great. So now they're finally showing up. Thank you for participating and sharing your perspective of some of those key features that help to boost that financial literacy among military youth. Realistic financial goals, understanding credit scores. Yes, these are really, really great points. Access to resources as well. So no matter what part of those financial literacy skills you choose or provided here, each does contribute to a teen's overall financial resilience. So we know that the stronger that their skills are, the more confident they'll be by navigating that military life and also adulthood. Thanks again for sharing. Good. Okay. So beyond that formal education, one of the strongest protective factors for a military teen's financial future is their family financial socialization. And what we know here is that, actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. At the heart of all of this is the protective factor of consistent caring relationships. That is, I think even some of you Oh, I need to go back a slide because it said, well, I'll go here and then I'll go back. Okay. So strong connections definitely do matter, whether they be parents, they be military mentors. I think I already see some of you mentioned those in the chat too. Civilian role models, other role models that generally can be those positive relationships for those young adults or those teens. And when everyone in this environment supports those networks together, they do have the ability to strengthen those protective factors and help those teens, again, navigate that change, build their confidence, and then, become those, step into those future careers and those financial well-being aspects. Okay, now I'm going to go back one. So another protective factor is family financial socialization. So tied in really well to those strong youth relationships. We know that family financial socialization is actually the way in which kids learn habits and attitudes through those everyday interactions. It's this foundation of lifelong financial behavior. It's active and it's also an ongoing process. So how it works is that it's really about having open and honest conversations about family financial values and goals and challenges. It's also hands-on on practice. So it's letting those teens manage those small amounts of money to build that confidence. It's about budgeting together. So we can involve those youth in real household budgeting to make those abstract concepts become concrete. And then it's also about exploring real costs. We can demystify those adult expenses like reviewing a utility bill, for example. Research has also shown us that talk alone is not cheap, or talk alone is cheap. And so the best outcome comes from combining both the conversation with hands-on experience. And that these two items together shape lasting beliefs and behaviors. The financial psychologist of Brad Klontz actually describes these as often unconscious money beliefs, which are also formed in childhood. Things like we can't afford that can lead to some money vigilance or avoidance. Parental anxiety can foster that money vigilance. On the opposite end, having those open discussions and celebrating that saving can actually promote healthy, abundant money scripts. Again, these scripts can influence how we save, spend, invest, and even choose careers. So why does this matter specifically for military teens? Again, with all those different transitions that they're experiencing, it can create a unique financial pressures. So when parents are modeling those responsible habits, they're talking openly about those challenges, and they're involving teens in those financial decisions, these aspects can help shape their positive money scripts and also their positive family financial socialization. These keys to a financial compass that builds confidence and resilience, no matter where that military life takes them. All right, I did cover that. Another protective factor is self-advocacy. This is a valuable skill for a young person because it has allows them to gain the ability to recognize their needs and communicate them clearly. To bolster self-advocacy, we can assist military teens with these 4 key skills. As you can see in this furthest column to the left, the skill area of communication, problem solving, resource navigation, and even self-awareness. I've indicated why these matter and then how you can develop those in such engagements with teens that you're working with. So for example, resource navigation. The purpose of that is to help teens find and use available supports. And the way you might develop that is creating a scavenger hunt for community resources. So that's just one example, but by growing on these 4 skills, military connected teens can become independent and financially literate, that they are then ready to navigate adulthood with confidence. All right, we can't forget about practical adulting skills, things like cooking, one of my favorites, budgeting, time management, and also professional communication. These are those key factors for military teens, and these are used in those everyday competencies to build confidence and reduce stress. The SOAR data actually shows us that military youth often prefer arts and sports over structured leadership or even service programs. And they're actually more likely to join civilian programs than military-sponsored ones. So this is interesting, and it also reflects both the preferences and also the access barriers, which we must consider when we're designing opportunities for military-connected youth and building those essential life skills. All right. So the final two protective factors, thinking about self-assessment and also exploration. Both of these can help teens understand their strengths, their interests, and their values. And it's not just about choosing a career. Experiences like summer camps, volunteering, internships, job shadowing, all of these can give teen a safe space to try things out. Whether it be a perfect fit or maybe not, each experience can teach those teens something valuable and help them move closer to discovering who they are and where they want to go. So again, to support that self-assessment and also skill building, we can tap into the rich networks of supports and resources that are already available. Military supports like FRGs, youth centers, 4-H clubs, even beyond the installation, there's Cooperative Extension, which offers that financial and career expertise, while JROTC and ASFED-CEP do provide leadership and career exploration. One important note that I do want to point out here is that JROTC units aren't at every high school, so that might be a little bit of a drawback, but the Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps does provide, is a federally sponsored high school program that does teach youth about leadership and self-discipline and life skills, just as a few examples. But again, they're not at every high school unit. So these programs do build resilience, they reduce anxiety, and they give military teens those multiple pathways to grow and also thrive. So that was a lot of information, but to bring it all together, military teens do face moves, they face deployments, and they face constant change. But with the right supports, these experiences do become real strengths, resilience, as you guys mentioned, adaptability, confidence. And what matters most is that these strong relationships, opportunities to build skills, and access to support programs are present. And as a refresher, career and financial well-being are tied to every part of our lives. And so keeping these pathways open is key, again, through youth centers, 4-H programs, mentors, or even real-world money conversations at home. With all that being said, I'm going to hand it over to Karen, who will show how the 4-H Beyond Ready program puts these into action.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jenny. Thank you for actually setting the stage for 4-H and what's the importance of actually incorporating positive youth development in any youth program, especially with military programs and working with military professionals who work with youth. So thank you all for joining today. Good morning. And I know it's some different time sets that's going on here, zones, because I've seen people from Germany and all over the place. So welcome, whether it is morning or evening, wherever you are, we are glad to have you here. I am Karen Baker. I'm the 4-H Youth Development Agent from the great city of Hampton. I am so many other things, but I can tell you that 30 years of experience that I've had with 4-H and being a 4-H agent, as well as being a positive youth development expert. I would say after 30 years. So thank you for joining us today. You're going to learn so much. And in order to, and I love something that I saw in the chat where it said pre-adulting. And that's exactly what we're doing, pre-adulting, getting those teens ready for adulthood. So I love that term, and I think I'm going to start using that. So before we even get started, I want you to put your thinking hat on. I want you to go ahead and scan that QR code. And I just want you to briefly tell me what's the first word that comes to mind when you hear positive youth development? What's the first word that comes to mind? Or you can even say, and you're going to scan the QR code. Oh, happy, love it. It's starting to come in. Fun, protection. Okay. Mentorship, carefree, protection, safety. Okay, engagement. All right, engagement is going on because if you notice that the larger the word gets, the more people are actually inclined to put that to agree. Safe, guidance. We'll take a few other more and in the aspect of time. Trust. I like that. Happiness. All right. Well, I want to thank each and every one of you for sharing uh, your actual one word or actually your little phrase. I like emotional maturity, confidence. All right, conscious discipline, character modeling, building leaders. Yes. Future. Okay. Empowerment. Well adjusted. Thank you, each one of you, for sharing because everything that you put in here really ties into the fact that youth development is a broad field that we focus on. It's supporting young people through growth and wellness, and everything that you put in here. And you can keep adding, and we will definitely have this actually slide to be able to present to you all under our resources. But thank you so much. And what I will say is that, well, let me back up one, that from growth to thriving youth development versus positive youth development. So when we think about youth development, it is a broad field, and everything that you all mentioned, it was very broad, but it was all about youth, and it tied everything in to the fact that we must also look at what's the difference between youth development and positive youth development, because there is a difference. There's definitely a difference. So, youth development, it encompasses a wide range of programs and interactions aimed at supporting young people overall development. It may include efforts to reduce risk factors, and which Jenny already spoke about, address specific challenges or promote positive behavior. It may even focus on some areas like education and health. It's an ongoing process, though, which young people attempt to meet their needs and develop competencies they perceive as necessary for survival and transition to adulthood. So, very broad when it comes to youth development, but positive youth development, it's more on being productive for both youth and their community. So, positive youth development is preparing them for pre-adulting, to be those youth that are prepared not just on the strength-based and development framework just for their individual selves, but also to a broader aspect of their community, building youth strengths and their potentials, focusing on five key qualities: competency, those are the C's, the five C's: confidence, connection, character, and caring. Remember, when you go back to the previous slide, when I asked you the question, what was youth development? I saw in there character modeling. I saw confidence. Okay. I saw, when you talk about competence, building life skills, saw a lot of that in there. And also it's about caring, making sure that our youth exhibit those skill sets of caring by giving back to their community. It also sees youth as an active participant and a valuable resource. That right there, that statement right there sums it up to what, and also what a actual adult partnership with youth looks like. Youth and adult partnership, seeing youth as an active participant and valuable resource. That is a youth and adult partnership. And that's what we're looking for when we're looking at, when we're working with teens, because we want to build those skills that they also can be teens as teachers as well. So prioritizing, the positive environments and growth opportunities for youth. So that is the difference between positive youth development and also youth development. All right. changing the way we do things. So when you look at positive youth development, as and so I'm going to stop saying that big word, that long word. It's a mouthful. And so what you're going to hear me start saying is PYD, because that is what positive youth development is. It's called PYD. That's the acronym that we use. So when we're looking at changing the way we do things with youth as youth professionals, we want to look at the framework of actually promoting those traits, those 5 C's, and the youth, their strengths and their potentials. Let's build on their strengths and their potential, and let's help that through actually promoting the 5 C's. We use a targeted approach with this very broad, and we emphasize on the importance of nurturing qualities and the potential of young people. We view, them as active participants. They're active participants. They're active participants in this pre-adulting life that they're going into, from that adolescent into that teen, into that young adult, into the adulthood. So they're going to be active participants in guiding their journey. We prioritize, the fact that a positive environment and meaningful opportunities and experiences, we got to make sure that that is intentional, that we're providing those things that are meaningful, that they are positive, and they are experiences that they are able to transcend into adulthood. So 4-H, which I've told you guys that I've been doing this for over 30 years. So I like the fact that even when Jenny was talking about strong connections, um, even those strong connections falls under the essential elements of 4-H. And the essential elements of 4-H are critical. They are critical to youth development programming. What we look at is that, belonging. Everyone wants to feel like they belong and they are welcome. It's a welcome environment, that is a positive, you have positive, caring adults to guide them. The youth also want to make sure that they have a safe space. So for their emotional content as well as physical, that it is a safe space for them. And then we want to make sure that we are building that independent opportunity to see themselves, as active participants. As we said, that they are also a part of this journey, that is no longer that you do as I say. We want to have them to also be a part of this and to help shape and form their journey. Opportunity to be self-determined, to stick to it. And when you even go down a little further to mastery, that's about the opportunity for mastery, to engage in their learning, to have that stick to it attitude, to not to give up, to continue to forge their way. And I think that this is something that builds that generosity, opportunity to value and practice service to others, giving back to their communities, giving back to also 4-H, actually, when you think about it, giving back to 4-H and being a part as a volunteer, or being a volunteer at the hospital or somewhere where they can actually giving back to the military base, where they can be a volunteer at their military institution, or coming in and judging maybe a contest or something like that. So these 4 elements, belonging, independence, and generosity, it helps with intentionality, with hands-on. When we give opportunities that are hands-on engagement, experiential learning, which I'm going to go over a little bit further in the slides, that environment that you feel safe and they can master new skills and abilities to develop their confidence they need to can be contributed to their local communities in a positive way. Helps promote PYD. It helps promote PYD. So let's look at it when the needs are met. When youth needs are met in a positive way, it promotes and develops a core character traits. When we look at the 4 essential elements of 4-H, you look at the fact that you do have under belonging. It promotes, and I'm just going to call out a few because I know you guys can read, but a loving environment. It helps with youth being friendly. It helps them to cooperate. So when they're coming into an environment, they feel like, they belong, that they're welcome. These character traits that are positive are actually exhibited. And so when you look at mastery, they have that sense of achievement and problem solving. They're motivated, they're persistent. When you look at independence, that they're confident, they're assertive, they're responsible, and they also have that self-control. They have that temperance, that self-discipline, building leadership, generosity. You're giving back, you're sharing, you're loyal. They also, in generosity, they're able to develop empathy. They become empathetic. They're able to understand and walk in someone else's shoes, and they develop their pro-social skills as well, and also becoming supportive. So these character traits, when you're looking at it through the lens of positive ways that they're developing character traits, this actually is intentional focus on these elements allow youth to benefit from participating in nurturing safe environments, And that's what all youth professionals want, to make sure that the kids are developing these type of character traits. Okay, well, you say, Karen, if they develop these character traits in a positive way, there are other ways that they can develop character traits when it's not met. Character traits that we don't want to see. Negatively met developmental needs can be defined as youth identity and trajectory. These are when their needs are not met, but in a positive way. And when needs are not met in a positive way, because we can meet the needs of youth. There are other programs that meet the needs of youth in other community type areas that meet the needs of youth. Can you put in the chat whether it be 4-H is a positive way, so is your military programs. What are some negative ways? What type of organizations or something that you just think of right off the top of the head before I say it, that yes, 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 yes. Thank you so much. Yes, gangs can meet these same types of needs, but in a negative way. Social media. Exactly. They can meet these same thing in a negative way. They can engage in, behavior that's not positive, misinforming youth. Thank you. So belonging, it could be an unsafe peer affiliation. When you think about belonging, it could be excessively relying on others, that they have to be attached and rely on others. It could be a heightened need for connection. They engage in cautionary to problematic sexual behavior. That's all of the things. Oh, you guys are hitting it right on the head. Predators, adult predators, all these things can foster negative character traits. So when you look at mastery, when you talk about arrogant, they can become arrogant, risk seekers, workaholics. We all have to have that work-life balance. Then also when you look at the independence, you look at that they can become bullies, manipulative, rebellious. I see someone even put engage in cult group and promote violence. Yes, yes. Thank you. And when you're looking at generosity, it becomes where they're overcommitted, where they're overextending themselves, as we do as adults, some of us as adults, that, youth can develop that as well, where they're overcommitted. Toxic relationships. Thank you so much. Sacrificing their own needs to gain approval. So all of these, the same way that you can develop traits that are positive through a positive affiliation with organizations. You can do the same thing with negative. So we are more so making sure that military youth and programs, you play a vital role in fostering positive youth development, especially in the face of unique challenges for military connected children and teens experience. When providers understand the negative implications of unmet needs, such as emotional distress, academic struggles, social isolation, behavioral issues, when they're missing a parent and deployment, all of these can be warning signs, early warning signs that child is, or that youth or that teen is on a trajectory that is not positive. So that's why we depend on positive youth development to meet the core needs of youth. That's why we depend on it. And we make sure that their needs are being met. And because you've experienced so much transition, That's why it's important that we make sure we create an environment that is belonging, that's welcoming and engaging for youth. So, positive connections, the essential elements of 4-H. 4-H promotes PYD by providing opportunities for youth to engage and reach their full potential. I like that early on that Jenny had mentioned that summer camps is a way to do that. Yes, if you look at this picture, this is actually a class where some kids are taking guitaring and learning how to guitar at 4-H summer camp. At 4-H summer camp. So it's exciting for them to be able to learn new things and master them. So when we're looking at the 4-H essential elements, one of them is mastery. These kids, after they took this class, was able to actually perform at the talent show on that Thursday. So they started on Tuesday and they learned, a little song and was able to present that. So that made them feel good, make them feel some accomplishment, which was really good. And also made them feel like they belong, because if you think about it, you know how some of the peers sometimes say to them, well, now I want to learn guitar. I want to do this and all that. Well, now a lot of them think it's cool and they want to learn guitar. So that's exciting for me. PYD is strength-based framework which focuses on youth needs to succeed. Using essential elements in activities like summer camp, like the reality store, it reinforces and sustains youth and adults relationships. It emphasizes development of real-world skills. It helps with safety, welcome environments, increases civic engagement. It supports communities. It strengthens a youth sense of worth and competency. And it also encourages youth to contribute to the well-being of their community. And if you think about it, their community at that time was 4-H camp. So giving back during that time. I like that right there. Programs for veterans as well as called Guitar for Vets. Thank you for sharing that. So early on, also, I know that Jenny mentioned some practical life skills, and 4-H is one of its concepts is that we use the targeted life skill model. And the life skill model is so broad that it can encompass everything that the youth would have to is great for them to learn these life skills. And with these life skills, we also have a 4-H pledge. And the 4-H pledge is, I know most military bases should know the 4-H pledge. If you don't have it up in your military installation, please get your military liaison to get you one. And let's get the 4-H pledge up, because with the 4-H pledge, it also breaks down what the targeted life skills fall under. So if you pledge your head to clear thinking, my heart to greater loyalty, my health to better living, and my hands to larger service for my community, my country, and my world. If you break that down and look at these life skills as professionals, we help build that successful transition from youth to adulthood. The roles include the basic needs, fostering competencies to be present for future success. So when we look at, the life skill model and break it down a little bit more, targeting life skill models, when you connect into 4-H, your head, we want them to be knowledgeable, reasoning, be able to create reasoning and thinking, using one's mind to form ideas and make decisions, to imagine, to expand, to dream. For our youth to dream that they can, dream bigger dreams and do bigger things. And we want to be able to manage the resources that they have to accomplish these purposes. When we look at the heart aspect of it, the personal and the social competencies, that's relating to, establishing a mutual and reciprocal connection between two people. Someone put in there about, I think they said like healthy relations. Well, it wasn't about healthy relationships, but youth do need to have healthy relationships. They said, I think dysfunctional relationships a little bit more, but they need to have, healthy relationships. This is where the heart comes in. And this is where you look at them becoming caring and understanding and being kind. Just being kind and being considerate and showing affection for others, a healthy affections for others. Oh, you're so welcome, Joe. You're welcome, Joe. And then when you look at hands, when you look at our hands, vocation and citizenship competencies. I know a lot of times, a lot of people say, well, how do I get them to do citizenship when you're looking at 4-H? And some people just don't have that, you all might not have the information that you need, but I can tell you today, after today, you will have that information, because when you're looking at vocational and citizenship competencies, giving, providing supplies and causing the things to happen, it is a social responsibility for us to make sure that they have what they need in order to be great advocates as well. Accomplishing something or earning pay to support others through physical and mental efforts. That means is we need to make sure that they also learning. I heard Jenny, I thank you so much, because you even talked about being a entrepreneur. And so when you're thinking about them using their hands to do things and to start their own business and becoming entrepreneurs, and just putting their hands to engagement and hands-on things, doing things that help them in their community. Health. Of course, we know that our youth are very I would say they are, and we just had this discussion recently, they are very up on their health and their mental health awareness. They, when you look at health and you're looking at the physical competencies, the act of behaving, the manner and style of their daily lifestyle, making sure that they are living a life that's pursuing and nurturing their mental health, and their bodies, I think that more so than any time right now, that our youth are very cognizant of the importance of having good mental health. So I broke that down really fast with the head, heart, and hands. You're going to actually get some more resources on it. So thank you. Next is we're going to go on to how do we connect these? How do we connect 4-H life skills? Methods used to help connect 4-H life skills in your at your military installations. Do 4-H projects, activity manuals, tracking them, and letting those teams start a project book. And that manual or journal where they can track what they're doing and how they're building their life skills. Characteristics of youth who develop life skills: they achieve, they're successful, they're creative, they're problem solvers, they're motivated, they're persistent, they're competent. I can go on and on and on. The characteristics that are developed from them actually learning the life skills. Even when you look at skillathons, holding a skillathon, a 4-H skillathon, get out that curriculum and do some activities, set it up around your installation where you have tables that are set up and they can actually put their hands in engaging activities in all the different curriculums that 4-H have. If you don't have a lot of curriculums on site, get with your liaison, please, and they can help you get these things. And there's also grants for certain bases right now. Well, I won't say basis. I want to say I know the Air Force and the Army has one right now. And even in your area, you might have it for Navy, but check on that as well. But educational trips, when 4-H is sponsoring something like go meet your representative at 4-H there at the Capitol, sponsor that trip to go ahead and go meet the representatives. This is a way of civic engagement, and this is citizenship, resume building, camp counselors. If you see the information come out from your 4-H agent or from the universities about we're seeking 4-H counselors to go to 4-H camp, if you know there's a team that's a leader in their community, recommend them, help them fill out the application, give them some guidance. So a lot of that will help them become leaders. Hold regular 4-H club meetings and make sure that you elect officers and get your clubs chartered. Get your clubs chartered. So remember I told you that we were going to talk about experiential learning a little bit later on. I would like you to know that this is the way that we actually focus on making sure that our youth are actually reading, what they're doing and applying it to real world experiences. So experiential learning, the first thing we do, we're setting aside enough time to reflect on the experiences. We're not just running through the experiences and letting them do this activity without reflection. We're planning the appropriate opportunities to help kids actually sit down and think about what they are doing and taking them through a process. And when you're taking them through a process, the first thing you're going to do is they're going to do the activity. The youth are going to talk about the activity. They're going to think about more critically about the activity. Youth will begin to recognize project skills and life skills and the steps to guide them to that. And it helps show the youth where the new learning fits in their life, how it can be applied to their life. So they experience, they share, they process, they generalize, and then they apply. Also, your liaisons can help you with more training in these areas. I do a lot of training. Exactly. Slower, yes, instead of jumping in. I love it. Thank you so much. And this brings me to our next mentee. Our next mentee, I want you to go ahead and scan that QR code. And I have a question for you. And I'm going to put, oh, let me go back. I thought I was going to bring up the question. There it is. How do you help youth thrive? Go ahead and click the QR code and start sharing. How do you help support, okay? Role modeling, building relationships, spending time together, okay, that caring adult, support, listening, by providing them resources, yes, talking with them and not at them, setting boundaries. Believe it or not, youth want to see boundaries, and they need those boundaries. Including them and listening is, oh, you're trying to bring it up so we can see it more? Okay, we have a lot of examples, and you can start putting them also in the chat, but I like the fact that including them. Okay, we got quite a few this year. Empowering them, positive peer connections, challenging them, yes, for mastery, positive reinforcement. Offer feedback, yes, offer and feedback, even if it's feedback that you have to share that's critical, it would be great. It would be great. Believe in youth. Thank you all so much. Listen to what they want and provide guidance after a report. Thank you. After reports, so building that trust, building that trust, building that trust. Offer space to receive empathy, believing. That brings me to my next slide, and which is going to be a video. Positive support. You guys are giving so many great answers. Thank you so much. So this brings me to my next slide. So we're going to go ahead and see a video. I want you to.
.4-H programs have engaged young people in learning and growing for over a century. But our work is about much more than a club, camp, or after-school program. It's about helping you thrive now and in the future. The science behind 4-H is positive youth development, a strengths-based, comprehensive approach to promoting learning and development. We use this approach to ensure our programs have positive, measurable impacts on the social, emotional, behavioral, and cognitive development of our youth.
It's a leave nothing to chance process where, as 4-H educators, we don't just passively rely on the experiences of our programs to impact youth. Instead, we intentionally create high-quality settings to promote optimal development. So, how do we make sure PYD is part of every 4-H opportunity? We make decisions and build our programs based on the 4-H thriving model.
This research-based model includes 4 key ingredients that make up a high-quality 4-H program and that help you thrive in equitable and inclusive ways. These ingredients include sparks, providing a place where youth can explore and spark their personal interests. Belonging, creating an environment where all youth belong, where they feel welcome and physically and emotionally safe. Relationships, fostering positive, supportive, and empowering relationships between youth and adults, and among youth and their peers. And engagement, promoting active engagement where youth have a voice and are challenged and encouraged to pursue their own learning and growth.
How do we ensure youth thrive? In addition to providing high-quality settings, we also need to intentionally support the social-emotional learning that helps youth develop critical life skills. These skills are summarized in these 7 thriving indicators. These indicators include growth mindset, openness to challenge and discovery, sense of hope and purpose, pro-social orientation, transcendent awareness, positive emotions, and self-regulation through goal setting and management.
Youth who experience high-quality 4-H program settings with activities that promote the 7 thriving indicators achieve positive developmental outcomes, including academic motivation and success, social competence, high personal standards, connection with others, personal responsibility, and leadership and civic engagement.
Youth who achieve positive developmental outcomes are more likely to also achieve long-term wellness and success marked by vocational or academic success, civic engagement, employability and economic stability, and happiness and well-being.
In short, PYD is made possible when we intentionally use research-based methods to plan and implement our 4-H programs to help youth thrive. With this approach, we can offer high-quality developmental settings in which all youth feel empowered, build critical life skills, and have the opportunity to reach their fullest potential.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So when we're looking at youth, can you all hear me? Okay. So when we're looking at the alignment of the PYD framework with the 4-H thriving model, and I apologize for the video not moving forward, but we're looking at the fact that we're doing intentional programming, intentional experience to make sure that we have these long-term outcomes for youth. Long-term outcomes for youth. It enriches the positive youth development activities, experiences, or anything that they're involved in when we do these things through the thriving model. I'm not able. Amy, can you move it forward for me? I'm not able to. Thank you. All right. And so there are PYD academies. What you just saw was a video actually from I am one of 2 of the Virginia PYD champions for the thriving model. And there is, even though you see the QR code, you can scan the QR code, and that QR code will take you to the 4-H PYD Academy. And we have different academies that are held during the year. And this year, the next one that's coming up which is going to focus on the foundations of 4-H positive youth development courses. It's going to also be held on September the 29th through November the 19th. It is a virtual platform, so anyone can log. It does cost $100, but you can scan that QR code, and we also will have more information and resources available from OneOp. They will make sure that you have more information on it. But these actual academies, a series of immersive virtual learning experiences, your gateway to engaging with 4-H transformative national initiatives with Beyond Ready. And when we go to the next slide for Beyond, the next slide, which is going to be about Beyond Ready. Let me see if I have my slide, if I have it back. And I do not, Amy. Can you? For some reason, I don't have it. There it is now. Okay, so when we're talking about Beyond Ready, 4-H has our new mission is to have 10 million youth to beyond ready for work and life by 2030. By 2030. This is our new campaign to have youth ready. And when we're looking at having the youth beyond ready, 4-H is already the largest youth development organization in the United States, where we have over 6 million youth already annually participating. So we're trying to get from 6 million to 10 million. So we only have 4 million to go. And you all can help us with that. And the programs, which are delivered by over 100 universities, and all over the United States and out of the United States, we're supported by 35 million strong alumni network spanning over all industries. We're backed by 20 years of research. 20 years of research. And you say, how do we do this? Well, this is how we do it. We do it by let's first look at how we define Beyond Ready. Beyond Ready is defined in 3 words, things that you all are already doing. So the way you can help us do this is we're making sure the youth are healthy, productive, and they are engaged. How many of you, just give me a thumbs up if you're already doing that, helping youth to be healthy, productive, and engaged? If you're doing that and you're doing your enrollment, you're going to help us reach that 10 million. Yes, I see it. I see it. And so there is a framework out there for this Beyond Ready, and it still falls under the Thriving model, which starts with the 4-H programming, which starts with helping youth develop a spark, helping them belong, helping them have healthy relationships, and having that caring adult involved, and the engagement, helping them get engaged in their community. So when we follow this chart, and you're looking at, ready for work, that means we're teaching the 4-H content. We're using those curriculums. We're building work readiness. We're teaching entrepreneurship, because some kids might don't want to work for someone else. They want to be an entrepreneur. So we're teaching that, and we're training them how to do business plans, and we're getting them prepared for not just working for someone, but also working for themselves. And then when you look at being ready for the world, we are actually developing hope and purpose. We are promoting, pro-social orientation. We are promoting, supporting positive emotionality. So there is a lot, that we're already doing. We just got to make sure that we're reporting it. So that makes them the 4-H outcomes that we're looking for is that they have post-secondary planning. That if they're going to college, vocational school, or if they are going into the military, that they have that they have critical thinking skills, they have that problem solving skills. What does it look like for life ready outcomes? That they actually have social and emotional intelligence. Social and emotional intelligence, which is very vital. Thank you, Linda. Thank you so much. And then when we also look at that they are the global awareness, that they understand the things that are going on around them, that is not just about their small world, but it's about everything that impacts them that's going on around them. Also Beyond Ready. When you look at it, if we're doing all those things, 4-H programming, we see the 4-H outcomes, then our goal is met. Beyond Ready goal is met. That means we reached our 10 million. So I think we've already done it even with all of you that are up here. Thank you so much. All right. So we have another video, and it is a case study. Today, we'll follow Miriam, a bright and curious military connected teen who, likes so many others, found herself at a crossroads as high school began to wind down. For questions about college, careers, and finances, to wondering how to turn her passion into a pathway forward, Miriam's story is one of exploration, uncertainty, and ultimately empowerment. Through the support of caring adults, her school counselor, and programs in her community, Miriam starts to find clarity about her future and the confidence to pursue it. All right, let's take a few minutes just to look at Miriam.
Miriam had been a military child her whole life. Through frequent moves, new places, and making new friends, Miriam grew to be a dedicated student. She loved music, reading, and enjoyed being outdoors and spending time in nature. As summer came to an end and Miriam geared up for her first semester as a junior, she wondered about the next step she'd take after high school. Many of her friends had visited campuses over the summer to explore their options for college. She was usually so independent and decisive, but she felt worried that she wasn't confident in what she wanted to do after graduation. While at times it was difficult, her dad loved his job and Miriam wondered if she wanted to enlist, like her dad. Did she want to attend college or maybe a trade school? How much money would she need to attend? And did she have enough? How soon would she need to start researching tuition costs or looking for scholarships? Would she need a job to be able to pay for school and afford all the things she wanted to do? She knew her parents had a college fund for her, but how much would that cover? Were there specific benefits available for her dad's military service? Miriam also considered getting a full-time job. Should she get a job and enter the workforce? Miriam confided in her family that she was unsure of what she wanted to do after high school and that she needed support. Her parents assured her that she still had time to figure it all out, but that it was good she was considering her options and already thinking about her future. Together, they decided that Miriam would set up a time to connect with a school counselor, Miss Carter. And so Miriam found herself sitting in Miss Carter's office, opening up about all the thoughts she'd been having about her future. Miss Carter assured her that many students felt worried at this point, but Miriam still had time to decide what was right for her, and there was no wrong choice. When asked if she'd be open to Miss Carter's assistance in considering her options, Miriam happily agreed. They explored resources and programs to help Miriam find what she liked. The local 4-H programs with events focused on science, health, and civic engagement interested her. After learning more and talking with her parents, they agreed it was a great opportunity for Miriam to learn transferable skills like problem solving, communication, and leadership. So, with the help of Miss Carter, she signed up for the local 4-H's Environmental Sustainability Club and planned her schedule around upcoming events. The club provided space for Miriam to expand her interests and explore her passions. She met with teens who also loved being outdoors and were passionate about the environment, just like her. She even stepped up and took on a leadership role in a community gardening project. Miriam set up time to meet with 4-H mentors who supported the program and asked them questions about their professional journeys. Her confidence grew as she connected with and learned from adults whose careers in science interested her. She had found something that clicked, that she was passionate about. And now Miriam feels ready to set up some college tours and to narrow down and apply to colleges with environmental science programs. Miriam also plans to set up calls with their college financial aid offices to better understand the cost of attendance and resources available to help her pay. When the semester came to an end, Miss Carter met with Miriam one last time before summer started, and Miriam shared that she now knew that she did not have to chart her future alone. By seeking out a little support from the caring adults around her, connecting with her community, and following her passions, she now felt ready to chart the next step in her journey and begin exploring options for college. Miriam felt prepared to take her first steps into adulthood.
So Miriam is one of those youth that is beyond ready, wouldn't you say? I would say she is. So, the 4-H military partnership with the Cooperative Extension is a unique one. And so we have a lot of resources here for you. Professional development and education. We have the hub for finding camp opportunities for military. We have the hub also about how you can find who your liaison is for your state so they can connect you with your 4-H agent or educator. The military partnership creates and provides support for military connected youth, whether they live on or near an installation in our communities or overseas. 4-H clubs provide consistency and belonging and opportunity to develop life skills through a positive youth development framework. These resources on the research page where you can find them as well. So just make sure you connect your youth also to those, like Miriam did, to the 4-H clubs that's outside the installation as well. Okay, then we have YES. YES is a Project Youth Extension Services. Is a 4-H program based out of North Carolina Cooperative Extension and part of the 4-H Military Partnership. Project YES was created in response to a growing need for military families. The program provides activities, positive youth development programming throughout the entire deployment cycle. It is designed to expand and enhance the Yellow Ribbon program as well as other military-related programs benefiting families and children. It engages college students and services to meet the needs of military families facing deployment. College students serve as interns who volunteer for 1 year commitment, receiving training in leadership, youth development, group facilitation, and project management. The interns travel nationwide to work with military-connected youth and deliver hands-on, engaging, interactive programs. A link for Project Yes has been shared with you in the chat pod. So you can use that link to connect some of these college students as well. It's a great program. Really great program. So I'm going to turn it back over to Kim. I know we went really fast, but I want to thank you all for joining us today. I want to thank you for all of your insight. I want to thank you for your encouragement and looking forward to reaching those 10 million youth beyond ready. We can do it.
Well, thank you so much, Karen, and to Jenny. What a wealth of knowledge and resources we have shared today. We're going to open it up just a second here to our participants to ask questions and share any comments. My OneOp friends, as well as some of our DoD colleagues, are watching the chat and will be responding and answering questions. But in an effort to save time and cover our presentation in its entirety, let's move on to the continuing education information. We value your feedback on your experience participating in today's webinar. It is very important to us, so we ask our audience to take a short evaluation, letting us know your thoughts on today's discussion. The link to the evaluation for today's session, as well as continuing education opportunities, is available on the event page. When you visit the page, you will see the purple button. Click on that and it will take you to the evaluation as well as the post-test link to receive your CE credits. If you do not see this button, perhaps due to having the page open for an extended period of time, please refresh or exit out and reload the page. To access continuing education opportunities or a certificate of attendance, you can follow the direct link to the evaluation which has just been shared in the chat pod. If you prefer to access this later, please navigate to the webinar event page for today's session and follow the purple Continuing Education button. Today's webinar offers 1.5 continuing education credits, along with a certificate of attendance for general use. For those wanting to receive continuing education credit, here are the available opportunities listed on the slide. Select CE types require the completion of a post-test. With a completion of 80% or higher, a certificate will automatically be emailed to you within 24 to 48 hours to the email address you provide. Please note that some email providers will direct certificates to your spam folder, so be sure to check there as well. For questions regarding continuing education, please email ce@oneop.org. We hope your schedule allowed you the time to attend all of our amazing Academy sessions. Military family service providers from multiple disciplines were brought to address a topic important to the military family readiness system. Not to fret if you missed any, as you can watch them on demand. These sessions will equip providers with evidence-based strategies to support adolescent well-being through transitions, create universal programming, and strengthen protective factors for military-connected youth. Please visit the Academy webpage that has been linked in the chat for on-demand viewing and more details on CE opportunities. An evaluation for the entire 2025 Academy will capture participants' feedback for this year's event. If you have received a continuing education certificate or a certificate of attendance via email from OneOp for an Academy event, you will be emailed an invitation to complete this survey. Afterward, you will be offered a $10 Amazon gift card to thank you for your time. And let's stay connected. Be sure to visit us at our website, oneop.org, to explore upcoming events, articles, resources, and more. You can also find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. We invite you to subscribe to our mailing list and follow OneOp on social media. Please be sure to sign up and follow along for all of OneOp's programming. We will stick around for a few more minutes for those who wish to grab any links or information from the chat. I believe we also have had some questions that our colleagues will be answering. And just as a reminder, a YouTube recording of today's webinar will be available for viewing on the event page within 48 hours. Thank you for spending part of your day with us, and we look forward to seeing you at our next OneOp event. And we will hang around for just another minute or two for you to capture any links and to follow up on these questions. Thank you all.